I'm going to do an article today. I've been promising. It's been in my descriptions for a couple of weeks now, I think, and I've been wanting to get at it. But for those of you who are only worried about direct mail, this show won't be very much for you. This is actually more of a focus on field sales. Because when I got started in direct mail, I had come from a straight commission sales background. And what we did in a number of companies is we took direct mail and supplemented the field sales force because the average field sales force had, let's say, 1,000 companies in their sales territory that they could call on, and the average salesperson can call on about 2 a day max. If you're doing a lot of the legwork for you, and you got about 200 days a year, and so they tended to sort out those sales calls on a convenience basis. So if they were like me, they would make calls on the way to my grandma's house for some cherry pie for lunch, or on the way home at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Fridays. I was probably a lot worse than that. But point is that salesmen don't, well, we did for the electrical distributor industry, we actually did some formal surveys and for manufacturers to find out if the sales call had any correlation to the sales amount that a customer might spend, and we found that it had like zero. That little tiny companies on the way home got as many or more sales calls as the biggest account in the territory. So the direct mail was part of an overall structure of tailoring the sales effort to the sales revenue potential. And we won't go into all that today, but I do want to just I want to give you something to think about. If you have a field sales force, and I understand that'll probably be a minority of my viewers, but that was really where I started my pioneering work. And so first off, let's for something a little interesting. This cartoon says it's an exciting new synthesis of the classical sales approach and the miracle of direct mail. So what they're doing is they're mailing a three-dimensional package to the prospect, and that will probably get through the gatekeeper because it's a big box. It's too heavy to lift, probably is on a wheelie cart, and then out pops the SalesForce. A way to get through the message machine and all the other gatekeepers. And I thought that was kind of clever. So now let's go talk about field sales. Revenue should always be the responsibility of operations, never sales. And Justin is a kind of a flamboyant guy, and I enjoy his work. Justin wrote this book. It's called The Machine, and it's a fascinating book. The main premise is that salespeople are people, and they like to go out and talk to people. But most of their job has devolved into customer service, so they're at their desks all day long trying to solve the problems that someone else in the company should solve but doesn't take responsibility for, and also trying to dig up new leads and trying to make appointments, making endless sales calls or phone calls or whatever, emails, and doing all this sort of bookkeeping work. And so Justin, basically, the machine is about how to take your best salespeople and give them calls to make, and take that 2 a day that I mentioned up to 4 a day. 4 a day, 5 days a week. Have them always out making calls, never in the office. And you really have to read this article with this conceptual framework in mind, that the salespeople like making sales, that the salespeople like talking to people, right? That's what they'd like to do. But a lot of times, and I worked for a company that did this, did this Salesforce management stuff and lead qualification, lead generation, and all that back in the 80s. And when we tried to hire our own salespeople, they put them through almost endless psychological tests and interviews. And I explained to the owner, Vic Hunter, who taught me a lot and and built a really good business. But I said, the best salespeople don't like a lot of the bureaucracy. You need to keep it simple. And I think your hiring method may actually weed out the people who would be the best for the position. Something to think about too. Anyway, so if you make revenue the responsibility of your sales department, you will handicap the growth of your organization. Operations should be responsible for revenue, and your sales department should focus exclusively on new business. There's a radical idea. More than 70% of your revenue in any given year comes from existing customers. 70% is yours to lose, the repeat business. You just need to do a good job of processing them. Okay, and the top three reasons why people leave is poor on-time delivery, uncompetitive pricing, and poor product performance. Your sales department can't directly influence any of these, so it makes no sense for revenue to be its responsibility. Really interesting idea, isn't it? It also reinforces this idea that get them out on the road, get them out. Not if you make them the responsibility of the maintenance orders, then they will devolve into staying in the office and sitting at their desk, which is, if that's all you got is inside-outside sales, then it may be okay. Anyway, so what you want is them out winning business that is currently being awarded to your competitors, new customers and transactions from new product categories. Does that make sense? Salespeople won't like this. They will argue that the business, basically the entire lifeblood of your company, is based on their personal relationships that they have with individuals and your customers' businesses, which is also a big mistake if you've let that happen. And that's why lead generation, lead qualification is so important, because then you can really evaluate your SalesForce ability to close, to get the business. I've worked in a number of organizations where the SalesForce basically thought that the customer was theirs and that the company was lucky to have the SalesForce in the middle of things, when in reality, it's the customer is the property of the company. Furthermore, if your SalesForce is too focused on personal relationships, it was like, well, what happens? So you come in from Acme Chemical and you say, well, we can't, I don't have the business anymore. Because why? And the sales manager says, why not? He says, well, they changed the purchasing agent. And I don't even know that guy. And the sales manager will rightly say, well, that's our biggest account. Get out there and get to know him. Find out what he is interested in. See what makes him tick. See what he's going to change. See what he likes about our business. Maybe he doesn't like anything. And if he doesn't, then you better figure out how to change what we're doing. Anyway, so the relationship is between a corporation and a corporation, and it can't be run on this little thread between your field sales and the buyer at the company. And in fact, you want to get multi-connections, and that's where the telemarketing and lead generation make a lot of sense, where you can, and maybe it doesn't anymore because nobody answers their phone, but you can still mail. And you can even still mail if they're working from home, if you have something valuable to mail. And I've told you that story, and we want to get the specifics on that. So the truth is that the SalesForce is currently performing a large number of critical customer service tasks. And if they realize that if they were suddenly to switch their focus elsewhere, nobody would be paying attention to the customer at all, most likely. So you have two choices. You can fortify your customer service and engineering teams before refocusing your salespeople on growth, or you can convert your existing salespeople into customer service specialists and build a whole new sales department from scratch. We typically do the latter, it says, at Ballistics. Okay? one of the best things about this article is it says there's two types of revenue, and basically to simplify the article, which again is available at wdma.org in the show notes if you subscribe. And I didn't put a QR code in here, but I did yesterday. But it's wdma.org/join, JOIN. Take it right there, right to you. You need to keep track of sales differently. You need to split existing customers and new customers. And we've done that for years in direct mail marketing because we can match back orders to our existing database of customers, and we can decide whether that's a new customer. It's a crucial differentiation, but you should also do it with your SalesForce. Okay, so customers you can think of as a revenue stream, especially if you have good solid repeat business, right? Which is most direct mail businesses are built on those kinds of products that are repeat orders. Okay, so when a customer joins you, there's a lifetime value expectation. Justin calls it a future stream of payments or an annuity. That's a little callous. But the idea is that the customer will be worth more over time because of repeat business than they will be because of that initial order. And, this may be why my focus has always been, I say, sell good quality stuff, get it there on time, get a good value on time delivery, whatever on time means, is the heart and soul of most catalog companies. And all this personalization and all the rest of this stuff that you hear day after day after day after day after day is mostly lies. Because, first of all, you don't know me. You don't really know what makes me tick. And you can't predict, no matter what you can't predict what I'll do next because I can't predict what I'll do next. That's from my book, Spinning Straw into Gold, available on Amazon and a lot of other places. Okay, so you got this future stream of annuity payments, and sales should be responsible for the value of the annuities that they win. Now, if you must pay the new business dollars, if you must pay salespeople a commission, and he doesn't recommend it, then it should be a small percentage of the new business dollars and 0% of the long-term revenue. Okay, that's his opinion. Okay? Break out your new business dollars and your gross signal. Otherwise, your gross signal, unless you break it out, your gross signal will be lost in the noise. Very, very interesting article. If you have a field sales force, I'd love to talk to you more about it. Have a great day. Like and share. Your friends